Warning: the following video contains spoilers from AMC's The Walking Dead.
Hi, they call me the governor, and we had a torturous wait for this mid-season opener. And trust me, I know about torture. But finally, at long last, we get to catch up with Ricky and his little band of misfits, and right away, we see that something was screwy. Just as we started to like Father Gabriel, he abandons his post, loads up all the community's food in his car, plus a bunch of sharp implements, and drives off into the night. I think Abraham would have called that a dick move. And Glenn would have called it a dick move. I'm sorry. Too soon? Now, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought he might be hiding stuff from the Saviors, which wouldn't make a great deal of sense, because if they come back and there's nothing for them to take, well, that puts him in a tricky situation. I guess we'll have to see what he's really up to. By the way, Father, nice Lucille drawing. However, after half a season of Rick looking like someone shot his dog, or at least beat his dog on the head with a baseball bat, Rick's got that fire back. He's found his balls, he's finally ready to take on Negan and his band of thugs. Though were we really surprised when Gregory turned down an alliance with Rick and his people? He probably would have pissed himself at the thought of taking on the Saviors if the Saviors hadn't taken away all his booze. He's a little dehydrated. And he's back to calling everybody by the wrong name. You can't respect a guy like that. But don't worry, his own people don't respect him. They got some fighting spirit. Most of them will probably die, but they've got spirit. And finally, the meeting we've all been waiting for. Rick meets King Ezekiel. Jesus conveniently forgot to tell Rick and his people about Shiva. Yeah, forgot. But I had some high hopes that King Ezekiel would join the fight, but I guess that would have been too easy. Unlike Gregory, King Ezekiel has a spine, but he's worried about his people. And, rightfully so. But I think he'll realize eventually, if he doesn't fight alongside Rick, he's going to end up fighting the Saviors all by himself. It's going to happen. We've already seen that Negan's thugs like to push people around. Hell, Negan likes to push his own people around, so is it any wonder? They're a bunch of assholes. Rick's crew finding that trap for the herd. Stroke of luck, they got all kinds of explosives they could use in this fight. Though he was so focused on getting these explosives that he almost let the herd cut him off from his own people, which led to one of the coolest scenes I have ever watched. Mowing down those biters with those two cars. Really, I hate both Rick and Michonne like Fat Joe hated dieting. But that was an awesome scene. Speaking of Fat Joey, that eulogy that Negan gave over the radio, pure poetry. Well, poetry read by a guy who took a few too many blows to the head and maybe dropped some acid, but still, poetry. Well, at least Skinny Joey was upgraded to Joey. Or is that a downgrade? I'm not quite so sure. And of course, Negan really wants Daryl to pay now. Rick is very lucky that Ezekiel took in Daryl, because the Saviors came in right in after Rick got back to Alexandria, and they tore that place up. They're gonna be eating off of paper plates for a while. So after the Saviors take off, with a lot of dire warnings about what Rick should do if Daryl shows up, Rick learns what Father Gabriel did. Some people think he just ran off. Some people think there's more to it, including Rick. So, of course, they have to mount a rescue party. Of course, Eric doesn't really want Aaron to go away. I guess the bed gets a little cold. But, of course, Aaron has to join the team in tracking down Gabriel. Now, Daryl, if he had been there, Probably could have told them that they were following the wrong tracks when he saw that boot print. But, since he wasn't around, Rick led his people right into an ambush. Lots of ladies rushing forward, shoving guns in their faces. My first thought was, is this Oceanside? But I looked around, I didn't see any familiar faces. Could this be the Whisperers? But speaking of faces, Rick had this big old grin on his face. Now, do you think he was thinking, look at all these recruits? Or do you think he was thinking, wow, now I got a lot more options. Maybe I can trade in Michonne. Overall, I like this episode. Rick was running around, making his stupid speeches to people. Trying to get everyone to work together. Hey, Rick, remember when you told me, we're not too far gone. And, we can live together. That speech didn't work out too well for you, though. Honestly, it didn't work out too well for me either. Still, maybe you should just let Maggie do the talking. I've heard some mixed reactions to this episode. Some liked it. Some didn't for some reason. Some were complaining about it. What, did you really expect that Rick would just gather up an army and kill Negan in like one episode? This takes time. The Saviors are a bigger threat than any that Rick has faced before. Even, dare I say, me. Give Rick and his merry men a little bit of time. So I'm glad there's a glimmer of hope in all this. Now don't get me wrong, I'd like to see Rick die in the most painful way possible, maybe tied to a stake while some spider gnaws on his intestines. That would be lovely. Sorry, I just got lost in the thought for a moment. But Negan, he really pisses me off, and he has to go. Especially since he tried to take half my cookies. That's all for now. See you next week. Governor, out.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Here's a couple more I think you might enjoy. And don't forget to subscribe. Remember, those who subscribe survive.